They are often the victims of violent crime, but rarely come forward to report it. Those who work in massage parlors in Toronto, particularly those of Asian descent, have lived in fear for many years. And while advocates have long been pleading for the voices of those workers to be heard, their struggle has received renewed attention amid the spike in anti-Asian attacks over the past year and in the aftermath of the tragedy in the U.S. 8 people murdered, 6 of them Asian women. Last week's mass shootings in Georgia, where a white gunman opened fire on 3 Atlanta area spas, shocked many. But the violence is tragically all too familiar to those in the industry.
I think we need to focus on the violence itself.
Elaine Lam is the executive director of Butterfly, an organization that supports Asian and migrant sex workers. She stresses that not everyone who works in massage parlors are sex workers, but says discriminatory practices have an impact on everyone.
It's not only happened in U.S., so this is not single incident. So the people who work in massage parlor, particularly Asian, is often facing a lot of violence, and murder is something we have been hearing every year.
Just last year in Toronto, Ashley Noel Arzaga, a 24-year-old mother, was allegedly stabbed to death by a 17-year-old boy inside a North York spa. Police believe he was part of the so-called incel, or involuntary celibates, online movement, one that encourages misogyny and violence against women. Activists say the intersection of race and gender make Asian women uniquely vulnerable to violence, over-sexualized and treated as objects rather than people. A recent study looked at the staggering 1,150 online reports of anti-Asian hate crimes over the past year and found that women represented more than half of all cases. But those who work in the service sector, especially in massage parlors, are often unable to seek help.
And ridiculously, we have some members actually they seek help when they experience violence, but they are being arrested and deported. So instead of being treated as the victim of the crime, so they're being treated as the criminal. It's not only people being attacked based on their race, but we also see how the system is racist itself.
Lam fears that the recent events in Atlanta will lead to a greater police presence at Toronto massage parlors, which she says are already over-policed.
Instead of using the rescue, using the sympathy angle, we really need to look at the rights of the worker.
Butterfly has launched a campaign in honor of the 8 Atlanta victims called the 8 Calls for Justice. Among those calls, the decriminalization of sex work and an end to over-policing of massage parlors. Now, the organization, along with several other advocacy groups, will be holding a rally against anti-Asian racism here at Nathan Phillips Square on Sunday at 2 p.m. For City News, I'm Natividad.